You came home to an empty house. You made your own dinner. You figured out your homework alone, and nobody asked if you were okay because everyone just assumed you were fine. If that hit something in your chest just now, this is for you. Here's what most people never say about Gen X. You weren't raised to fall apart. You were raised to function, to handle it, to keep going no matter what was happening inside you. And you did. You got really, really good at it. But here's the truth underneath that. Getting good at surviving something doesn't mean it didn't leave a mark. So what actually happened to Gen X? What's the real psychological story behind a whole generation that quietly holds everything together, but almost never asks for help? Let's slow down and look at it honestly. You grew up in a world that was changing fast. Divorce rates were climbing, both parents were working. The phrase latchkey kid was invented for you. You had freedom, yes, but underneath that freedom was something that nobody named at the time. It was aloneness, and your young brain had to make sense of it. So it did what brains do. It adapted. It decided that needing people was unpredictable, that depending on someone meant risking disappointment. And slowly, quietly, your nervous system learned a rule. Handle it yourself. Don't need too much. Stay in control. Psychologists call it avoidant attachment. But forget the label. In real life, it sounds like this. I'm fine. I've got it. Don't worry about me. Said so many times that eventually you started to believe it yourself. Now here's the part that really matters. Why does Gen X find it so hard to say no? Because saying no feels like letting someone down. And somewhere underneath all that competence and self-sufficiency, there's a quiet fear, a fear that if you disappoint people, if you need too much, if you're not useful, you might stop mattering to them. So you say yes, you take on more, you show up for everyone, and you put yourself last, not out of weakness, out of a very old, very deep survival strategy. But what does that actually cost you? This is the part nobody talks about enough. The impact is slow. It doesn't hit you all at once. It builds. It's the exhaustion that never fully goes away. It's the resentment that creeps in when you've given everything and nobody noticed. It's the loneliness. And this is the strange part, even when you're surrounded by people who love you. Because you've kept such careful walls up for so long, real closeness starts to feel unfamiliar, almost unsafe. And so you stay busy, you stay useful, you stay strong because that's what you know how to do. Why do you keep doing this, even when it's draining you? Because it worked. For decades, it worked. That armor kept you going when nothing else could. The independence, the toughness, the I don't need anyone energy. It wasn't a flaw. It was survival. And you have to honor that before you can begin to loosen it. But here's the shift. What protected you as a child can quietly imprison you as an adult. And the question isn't whether you're strong enough to keep going. You've already proved that 1,000 times over. The question is, do you want to keep living that way? So how do you start to move through this? One small moment at a time. You let one person in. You say, I'm actually not okay today, instead of, I'm fine. You put something down that was never yours to carry alone. You say no to something, not because you can't handle it, but because you finally decide that your energy matters too. That's not weakness. That is the bravest thing you can do. You were handed a world that asked too much of you before you were ready, and you rose to it. Every single time. But you don't have to keep proving that. The strongest thing you can do now, after all of it, is finally, quietly, choose a life where you don't have to be strong alone. That life is waiting for you, and you've more than earned it. Thanks for watching. Feel free to leave a comment below if something isn't clear.